So I was going over the far Kilkenny mountains. I met Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. I first produced my pistol and then produced my rapier. Said stand and deliver, for I am a bold deceiver. Mushering dama-doo dama-da. Back for my daddy-o, back for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. I counted out his money, I made a pretty penny. I put it in my pocket and I took it home to Jenny. She said she should love me and never would deceive me. But the devil take the women, for they never can be easy. Mushering dama-doo dama-da. Back for my daddy-o, back for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. I went into my chamber for to take a slumber. I dreamt of golden jewels, and for sure it was no wonder. But Jenny took my charges, he filled them up with water, and said to Captain Farrell to be ready for the slaughter. Mushering dama-doo dama-da. Back for my daddy-o, back for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. Now some men like delight in drinking and the roving, but others take delight in the gambling and the smoking. But I take delight in the juice of the barley, and counting pretty fair maids in the morning bright and early. Mushering dama-doo dama-da. Back for my daddy-o, back for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar.
As you know, the old bottles, labels, employment records, shipping records, all that kind of stuff. So really important to keep all that intact. And if your ancestors work here, you can actually make an appointment to come in and look at some of their employment records there. It's really nice there, you know, keep all that stuff safe for future generations. We'll head up to the water wheel next. You'll get a better view down the side of the college then. You'll have a bigger impression of how really big it is. They definitely couldn't complain about living in a cottage anyway. So the water wheel here then, this is dated back to 1852. It was built by an English company called Fairbairns. Made from cast iron. If you look at the outer rim there, you can see the sheets of barley cast into it, so it really was a custom job. Has a diameter of around 22 feet, around 6.6 metres. But believe it or not, this is actually the sole source of motor power at the distillery right up until 1975. You know, still up until 40 years ago, this is basically doing all the work, turning all the equipment in the mill building. We're going ahead. The only thing to stop her season up, but no, she still turns that. I don't think so. That's it. Yeah. So we've turned the cogs here behind us. The cogs then would have turned the millstones, which are on each floor going up. So there's one down the back left there, the other one is here. So, you know, the millstones sat one on top of the other. The barley or the malted barley is fed in between them. They then grind them down into kind of a coarse, rough flour. It's called grist. You may have heard the saying, the grist in the mills. That kind of rough flour you're grinding it into here. Now, given I suppose the Irish reputation, it might be hard to believe, but there wasn't actually always enough rain to turn the water wheel outside. So we did have to invest in a steam engine to cover those, you know, occasional periods of the year where the mill race would run dry. So that's in this room here.
barrels are a little bigger than the Kentucky ones.
Coal fire down below, and definitely the men who worked in here would have had the toughest job in the whole distillery. So they'd have to shovel around 4. Signature part of the bourbon style, you know, it's lighter, sweeter on the nose, so it's, one of the original reasons. Yeah, so again, we're going to look at how the trees, or how the barrels are made later on, but this just shows you know, when an oak tree is felled, obviously it's cut into large logs. It goes through a real specific cutting process just for cooperage, for the art of barrel making, called quarter sawing. So it's basically cut to these logs here. These are called bolts. So these bolts here then are going to be cut into the staves you see stacked here on the right. So folks, the distiller's cottage was actually built at the same time as that building across from us. So remember that was originally constructed as a woolen mill in 1794. So this is actually where the mill owner
1794
on site. Then when the army took over the site here, you know, you had the soldiers living in that building as a barracks, but of course the higher level kind of officers would have lived here. And then when the Murphy family took over and they established the first distillery here, they always believed in having a family member living here in this cottage. So it was actually 3 Murphy brothers originally involved. They held the shares equally. As time kind of went on, you know, they passed each of their shares down to each of their 2 eldest sons. We actually had 6 cousins involved at one stage, so it was getting kind of messy. But you know, in true Irish fashion, the 3 original brothers had 43 kids between them. So it really was messy, you know, it was tough to manage. So basically they decided just to take all the shares back. They gave it to one of those original brothers, Daniel. He held them in trust for everyone else. And one of the other brothers then actually went on to found the Murphy's Brewery in Cork City, the beer Murphy. So there is a link that way. And then, as I mentioned earlier on, in 1868, the Cork Distilleries Company took over. And again, it functioned here until 1966. Then it merged with the other distilleries to form your Irish distillers. So we're heading inside again. This is where the master distillers live.